Hello, ha, it's a Sunday night. I've just been watching some YouTube videos and thought I would come on and do one myself. Yay! Right, so this is basically a video response to my friend Brian from Two Spirit. I think it's from someone else and someone else and someone else, but I haven't watched all of those. So this is 5 of 5 faves. So it's 5 favourite things of 5 different categories. So I'll go straight into it. So the first category is 5 favourite TV shows. Oh my god, how can I choose 5 favourite? So I probably haven't got the right ones because I just sat here thinking, what's that one? What's that one? Yes, okay, right. Top favourite TV show of all time has to be Gossip Girl. Absolutely loved that show. It's set back in, oh I don't know when it's set back in the beginning of the 2000s. Basically a load of kids from the Upper East Side of New York, you know, the wealthy lot, and their wonderful privileged life basically. So it started off when they were like 16 at school and then followed them up. There were 6 seasons, so it followed them up to in their early 20s, and you just fell in love with the characters and you just wanted to watch it all the time and find out what was going on. You know, and you had the typical representatives of each group, and basically, so it's the story of these. And you've got the narrative by this character, Gossip Girl, who was a gossip columnist. You know, I mean, we're in these days of the modern age, so it was all by social media. So, you know, everybody listened to what Gossip Girl had to say in the social media. And all the way through, you didn't know who Gossip Girl was. You never knew who it was. They all... every so often now and then throughout the show they would try and you know, guess who Gossip Girl was, and it wasn't until the last season that you actually found out who Gossip Girl was. Now, whether they knew right at the beginning who it was going to be or whether they just decided at the end, I don't know, but they did try and tie it all up by, you know, putting bits and pieces here together, say these were the clues, but some things along the way. I mean, if you've never seen Gossip Girl and you're into that kind of trashy TV show, then I would say go and watch it. I'm not going to tell you who Gossip Girl is. So, you know, they did try and tie it up at the end to think, but if you watch the whole show as I did, and I watched it as it was on, so, you know, every week for the 6 years that it was on, but I also binged watched the whole series in about 2 weeks, several times over. I binged watched it, and then my daughter came home from Turkey. She'd been living in Turkey for a year and decided she wanted to watch it, so I binge watched it with her. We watched about 5 or 6 episodes a day together. So that we could talk about it. And even though I'd seen it like 2 or 3 times already, you know, it's great to watch still because the drama overtakes you. Yeah, so there's a few things that don't tie up to the actual person who ended up being Gossip Girl, but go watch it. I'm quite lucky actually because one of my favourite actors played Dan Humphrey in the show, Penn Badgley, and I did get to meet him last year. He's now in a band called Mother, and they came and did a little tour of the UK, and I got to meet him in Nottingham last year. So you know, that was amazing for me. You don't get to watch a TV show because all the best TV shows are American in my eyes. You don't get to watch your favourite TV show and then get to meet the actor in a tiny little bar in Nottingham. So that was amazing. So Gossip Girl, my first favourite TV show. Now my second favourite I've put down, although I would say these days it's possibly not in my top 5, but for a long time it was, so I'm just going with it. It was Doctor Who. Doctor Who, obviously I've been watching since I was a child. Originally my Doctor was Tom Baker. He was amazing. Well, actually, John Pertwee, then Tom Baker, but more Tom Baker, I would say. He was my Doctor. And then, yeah, no, yeah, it was Tom Baker. I was just thinking, but yeah, he was my Doctor. And then obviously we didn't have it for a long time, and then they brought it back in 2005. And so my new Doctor is 10, David Tennant. I think probably if everybody's got their favourite Doctor. You know, who's your Doctor? It's usually the Doctor that you grew up with or the Doctor that you watched the most. And mine's David Tennant. He's by far my favourite ever actor, and he was just the best Doctor that they've ever had. So I'm going to keep Doctor Who in there, although, you know, since David left, I still watched it when it was Matt Smith a bit, but it's gone down a lot for me. You know, it used to be counting down the days until the next episode. Now, the last season went by and I didn't even know it had been on. So I did watch it. I have watched it because obviously, what's his name? Can't even remember his name now. The new Doctor, he's leaving, isn't he? So I thought, well, I'll watch it because I want to see how he goes. And obviously they've revealed the new Doctor now, who's going to be a lady, first time ever. But you know, the Master has already been a woman, so you could see that coming. So Doctor Who, that's the one I'm putting in. Archer. It's quite a weird one for me because, you know, this is a modern show and it's not even live action show, it's animated. There has been some great animated adult TV shows over recent years. I mean, obviously, The Simpsons, everyone loves The Simpsons. Is it an adult show? Is it a child show? I don't know. But everyone loves The Simpsons. But Archer just... my son recommended it to me and I was like, oh, no. But I had a look at it on Netflix, and then before long I'd sort of watched the whole of the first 3 seasons. I just find it hilarious, and I just couldn't stop watching it. It's stupid, and it's funny, and there's drama in it, and it's annoying. But go have a look if you're not sure about it. If you've seen it but didn't know what it was, just watch it. The only thing is, I don't know his name, but the actor who plays Archer is the same actor that plays Bob in Bob's Burgers. So it's a bit funny if you watch one show and then you go to watch the other, and it's like, well, I watched Archer first and I started watching Bob's Burger and I was like, that's Archer though. And obviously, if you have seen it, they did do a crossover of Archer and Bob's Burgers, which is hilarious. Just go watch it. Give it a go. In fact, watch Bob's Burgers as well if you haven't tried Bob's Burgers. But Archer is the one that's in my top 5 TV shows. Now the last 2 shows are sort of, well, I should have said them first really, because Community, hilarious show. Again, it's another show that has ended, which is such a shame because it was a great concept. It was a great show. Joel McHale, you know, he must be up there with one of my favourite actors. He's so funny he's such a dry comedy, and he's quite attractive as well. I think that might be what grew me to the show. But Community, it's hilarious. You could probably find it on Netflix or somewhere, but you know, one of the things during the show was the 6 seasons in a movie. So every TV show should have 6 seasons in a movie. Now Community managed to stretch it out to 6 seasons, so you know, we're waiting with bated breath for the movie. I can't wait. It's got to happen. It's just got to happen. Alison Brie, fantastic actress. She was in the show. Just brilliant. She is hilarious. She has done some great drama shows, dramatic, non-comedy stuff. But she is a fantastic comedian. She's so funny. I mean, lately she's been in the show on Netflix, Glow. Go and have a look at that as well. That's really funny, about a women's wrestling franchise. But Alison Brie is hilarious. So yeah, so Community, and my final TV show, it's got to be The Walking Dead. I absolutely love The Walking Dead. I love zombies. I've always been a big fan of zombies. Zombie films, you know, 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later. I love those shows. The Day of the Dead, The Night of the Living Dead, all of them. I love them all. So when The Walking Dead first started, and I was like, there's going to be a TV show about zombies. Yes, get me in there. And it's never failed me. It's been absolutely fantastic all the way through. Mind you, season 2, bit dodge. But you know, apart from that, it got good again back in season 3, and it's been phenomenal really since then. You know, we're counting down the days now. It's only a month to go to the new season, and it's getting hot. So yeah, and shout out to obviously the main man, Andrew Lincoln, who is one of our own. Fantastic actor. So yeah, The Walking Dead, my number 1 or number 5 or whatever. So yeah, that's it. Top 5 favourite films. Back to the Future. Possibly the second one, but I'm saying the whole thing as a franchise, the trilogy of Back to the Future. Fantastic film. I was always a fan of Michael J. Fox growing up. He was, you know, back then he was my favourite actor. I loved Family Ties, absolutely loved Family Ties. And Back to the Future is amazing. I've seen them. I've got each film individually, and I've also got the trilogy on DVD. But you know, they're always on TV, and you always end up watching them, and I can watch them over and over again. You know what happens, you know the story, but you just cannot help watching. They're just such great feel-good films. And the way they did all 3 films and tied them all together, and it's just amazing. So definitely Back to the Future, the whole trilogy. My second one is Dogma. Quite a strange choice, I know, but I love Jay and Silent Bob. I think they are hilarious. And obviously Dogma was the first film that they appeared in. Well, no, was it? Was it they were in Clerks first? Anyway, I learnt about them. I met Jay and Silent Bob for the first time in Dogma. Absolutely love Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. So this film is absolutely, you know, the whole concept of it, that, you know, God has gone missing and they're trying to find God, and, you know, these 2 angels that shouldn't be here on earth. It's amazing. Alanis Morissette, she's fantastic as God. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. There is bad language in it, obviously. If you don't like bad language, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of it, but you know, sometimes in films it goes. Chris Rock as well. I'm not really a fan of him, but he does do a good job in this film. So go and watch it. Dogma, great film. You'll love it. I know you will. Now, I really struggled. The next one, Final Destination. Not any single one of them. The whole franchise. The whole... Is it 6? Was there 6? 5 or 6? I can't even remember, because they've done them and they finished them and then they did an extra one. I just love it. It's just the on the edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen. The way they do it in the film, you know there's going to be some kind of tragedy, some kind of horrible incident, but you don't know what it is because they're building it up all the time, and you see that and you think, oh no, oh, and nothing happens, and then all of a sudden it springs up there. Brilliant. And if you've seen the whole series of films, the way they bring it all the way back round is just brilliant. It's just really good the way they did it. Again, it's another one of those, you know, they're not horror films because it's not, you know, they're not horror films. There's not no nasty ghosts or anything. It's just they're thrillers, I guess. There is a lot of blood in certain instances. There's a bit of boobs as well. I think that's only in one particular film. So, you know, it's oh no. Of course there's the third one, isn't there? The third one's my favourite. Final Destination 3, that is my favourite. I could watch that one over and over again, and you know everything that's going to happen, but you're still going so yeah, Final Destination, each and every one of them, although I've just said the third one is my favourite of the lot. You can't have a top 5 films and not have the Rocky Horror Picture Show in. I think of all, if you go out and look on YouTube at all these top 5 of 5s, you probably find the Rocky Horror Picture Show is in most of them. I didn't watch it until I was 17, where I worked at the time, the American Adventure theme park in Ilkeston, Derbyshire. We wanted to put on our own show, and as you know, we had an entertainment team, we had actors and singers and dancers there, but us as like retail and catering staff wanted to do something a little different for the rest of the staff, so we put on our own version of the Rocky Horror Show. I'd never seen it before and was absolutely blown away by it. I think it's fantastic, it's funny, it makes you think, it really does make you think. And the songs in it are great as well. So, Rocky Horror Picture Show, that's my next choice. And the last one, it's an English film and it's called Fever Pitch. Obviously, it's centred around football, soccer. So, it's a film about a guy who's a massive football fan. He's a fan of Arsenal. And basically, his life revolves around football and Arsenal. So there's a lovely line in it by his girlfriend that says, normal people live their life in years, not seasons, but he does everything in a football season. So everything he does, he has to look up the fixtures and that. And basically in the film he meets a woman, and then it's, you know, oh no, it's like football or the girlfriend. It is a great film. It's I saw it at the cinema when it first came out, or I don't know, 20 years ago or something. God, is that how long it is? And it was amazing. I thought it was amazing. And I've got it on DVD and I do watch it occasionally as well. It's just, you know, well, it's about football, so that's me. All about football. So that's my top 5 films. Music artists. So back in my teens, when I was 14, 15, my favourite band was Duran Duran. I was in love with Simon Le Bon. I had a big massive poster of him on the ceiling above my bed. And you know, everybody knows Duran Duran. Everybody knows their music. Everybody, you know, there's not one person in the world that doesn't know a Duran Duran song. Now, if you ask me to do my top 5 favourite Duran Duran songs, we could be here a long, long time because I don't think I could pick. But Duran Duran, and I think even now, I think their music is timeless. You know, so I would say now they're still in my top 5 music artists of all time. You know, I often listen to their music, their new stuff and their old stuff. I mean, you know, they've never stopped going, basically. A few years ago, me and some friends went to see them in concert. We went to Birmingham to see them at Aston Villa football ground. No, it wasn't at Aston Villa, was it? Where was it? Oh, I think we went to see them at the NEC. We went to see them somewhere anyway. And it was a great night out, and it was like, you know, we were transported back to being 16 again, because it was, you know, they're older than I am, and they've still got so much energy. It's quite amazing to see them rocking out, just, you know, just like they did. And they are still around. They're still making music, brand new music, which is just quite amazing, really. So yeah, Duran Duran. Second, it's got to be Take That. In the same vein, really, as Duran Duran. I mean, Take That were around in the 90s. I mean, in my case, my sister was the fan first, and I sort of, you know, came a bit later. But Gary Barlow was my man. I know he's the fat one, the one that everyone called the fat one, the one that nobody liked. I did. I loved him. He was my man. And again, Take That, you know, music will go on, won't it, really? And they're still around. They're a bit depleted. There's only 3 of them now. They started off as a 5. But they've never stopped making music. You know, they had a break from each other for a while, and they all went off on their solo careers and did other things and stuff. But we went to see them. This is where we went to Aston Villa. Yeah, we went to Aston Villa ground to see them a few years ago. Oh, it's about 6 years ago now, as they were having a comeback tour. And they got back together as a 5 for the first time, with Robbie Williams. Now, Robbie's obviously gone on and had a great, successful solo career himself. So it was a great night, actually, because they did the whole Take That thing as a 5. So Robbie joined them, and they did all the old stuff from then. Robbie did his own set as well, so he was doing all his solo stuff, and then they also the Take That. Well, I'd say the Take That of now. Back then it was still the 4 of them. So then the 4 of them did, you know, the stuff that they'd done together. That was a great night. So Duran Duran and Take That. Imagine if they were both together. Next we've got Oasis. I was a big indie fan in the 90s. Well, Take That were around in the 90s, but God, the 90s was such a great decade for music, because you know, you had the Take That's and the Spice Girls and, you know, all those boy bands and everything, but the indie guitar music was a big thing then as well, which is, it's sort of dropped off now, really. And here in the UK, you were either a fan of Oasis or Blur. In fact, I liked both of the bands, to be honest, but Oasis, I'd say Oasis just edged it for me. I don't know what it is. I mean, you know, if you listen to Liam Gallagher sing, he's not got the best voice, and he does sing off key sometimes, but that's the magic of it. That's what makes it sound so good. So yeah, Oasis are my next, in my top 5. Eminem. Bet you weren't expecting that, was you? No, Eminem doesn't fit in with Duran Duran or Take That or Oasis. He's just got, there's a charm about him. And I know, you know, there's lots of sweary in his music, and I don't like it, but you just seem to gloss over it because you listen to this, you know, to the lyrics as a whole, and he you know, takes his inspiration off of his life, basically. So all the lyrics in his music all mean something, because it's about something he's gone through most of the time. But I think that was the charm. So yeah, Eminem. And I can't do a top 5 music artist without Alistair Griffin. He's not a massive world famous artist. Probably not even half of the people in this country know who he is if you mention him, but to me he is a massive star. I first knew of him when he was on a reality talent show here in the UK called Fame Academy. Basically it was sort of the X Factor crossed with Big Brother. So, you know, 10 people trying to be a pop star, basically. And they live in this house together. So they would do music classes and songwriting classes. They would do classes all day long in this big house that they lived in together. You could watch it 24/7, you know, so you could watch the feed, you could watch what they were doing every minute of the day, except when they were sleeping, so it would go off at like 12 o'clock midnight and then come back on at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you'd be able to see them getting up, having their breakfast, going to their singing classes and everything. And then, you know, on the Saturday night, they would all be there singing their song for survival. And, you know, they would vote off who the person to go. And then, you know, you'd have a big final, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so Alistair was in the second series of it. And he did very well. He did come second in the show. I don't know what it was originally about him. I just loved his voice. He's just got such a great voice. It's one of those that it doesn't matter if he's singing live or if he's on record. You couldn't tell. It's just an amazing voice, really. So I watched him through the show. I voted for him on Saturday nights. I recorded everything. I've got a box of videos. I've got a box of VHS videos over there that has got every minute of the live stream of Fame Academy from that series. I'll never be able to watch it again, obviously, because you can't get a DVD. You can't get a video player, VHS player anymore. But I won't get rid of them. It's just me, I'm a hoarder. So yeah, so I watched him, I voted for him every Saturday night. And I also found a forum online of other people who were actually a fan of his, set up by somebody who was obviously a fan of his. And we became a nice little community. And then obviously when he came, you know, when the show ended and he came out of the house, he started doing, you know, live appearances and little gigs and stuff. So as a forum, we started, you know, travelling to go and see him live. So I did a lot of that in sort of 2003, 4, 5. Travelling around the country to see his live appearances. Sometimes it was just to go to a radio station and stand outside while he was in there. But, you know, I don't think I will ever find another music artist like him, to be honest. I mean, even now, 14 years later, he's still there and I'm still going to see him, you know, do his little gigs. He's coming again to Nottingham in November, so I'll be going to see him there. It's just in a tiny little venue. It's upstairs in a pub, basically. But as I said, you know, his voice is second to none, really. You can just sit and listen to him and be transported. He has done big band gigs. You know, for a while we would go and he would have a band with him and he'd sing, you know, lots of great big massive rocky songs, all that he's wrote. You know, he writes all his own material. He does do 1 or 2 covers because you know, some people do like to hear covers, but the gigs that he used to do, he would do 2 halves. So he would do a rocky band half and then an acoustic half where it's just him and his guitar and his pianist. And, you know, that was fabulous. But these days he's mostly doing just... Can you hear my cat snoring over there? I wondered what the noise was and he's actually snoring. That's Ronnie. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so I just love now going to see Alistair perform. Just him and his guitar. That's all we need. You know, just his little acoustic guitar. Doesn't have to be, it's not plugged in or anything, it's just him. So yeah, that's my 5 music artists. 5 foods. Well, I'm going to talk about foods I really like, whether I get to eat them anymore. How weird was that? I was just in the middle of saying how I like plums and the camera just turned off. How rude. So anyway, plums. I love plums. Yeah, so for part of my eating plan, I eat lots and lots of fruit. But my favourite fruit is plums. I could eat them. The only thing is sometimes you buy some plums and they're really horrible and you end up throwing them away because they're all squashy and bleh. Really nice, not quite ripe. Hard plums. Yep, love them. And pie. I love pie. I love pie. I've just been out for dinner and I had cow pie. It was amazing. I haven't had pie for about 2 years and I know I'm gonna wish I hadn't when I jump on the scales this week, but oh my god, I love meat pie. So, pie. And the last of these 5, which I gather from everybody else is the hardest, and it's 5 favourite YouTube channels. Now, I'm not really a big YouTube person. You know, I've started doing these videos myself, but I don't have enough time really to be sort of, you know, watching tons of YouTube channels. So I have managed to put down 5, but these are the 5 that I watch basically. They're I mean, from time to time I watch other ones. I've got tons of subscriptions because every time I watch a video because of something, you know, or you know, you've searched something and it's took you to a YouTube video, so I'll save it and subscribe so I remember to go back. But a lot of them I've never been back to, and even now, just recently, I've subscribed to a few new ones, but I'm not going to have time to go and watch them. I think I've got about 36 subscribed channels, which I do apologise to everybody that I don't watch very often. I get hundreds of notifications. I just don't have time to watch. So the 5 that I've put down. Now, obviously, I've had to put down my best friend, Two Spirit. He calls himself Simon, I call him Brian. Long story, I'll leave it to him. So yeah, I've put down him because I do watch his videos. I don't always comment on them, and sometimes I don't like them. It's just because I watch them on the TV, and you can't actually do that when you're watching through I watch it through the Fire Stick, so it's YouTube on the Fire Stick, but you can't do anything. You can watch the videos, but you can't like them or comment on the TV. So I do apologise, Brian, for not liking all your videos and for not commenting, but that's the reason. And if anybody, oh, no, nobody else on my list will be watching. So so I do apologise for doing that. It's just because I can't do it on the TV. So yes, you are there. ASBYT. This guy is hilarious. He does tech videos. I found him one day when I was trying to set up my Kodi on my Fire Stick, and it brought me to him, and so I watched the video that I needed to watch. Then I watched, you know how when you watch a YouTube video, especially when you're watching it on the TV anyway, it just starts playing another one and another one, and because you can't switch off the autoplay on the TV, so it just does it anyway. So I watched about 3 or 4 of his videos at the time, and he's really funny. I don't know if he means to be. Do you mean to be funny? But I thought he was funny, so I do watch them. He does lots of giveaways as well. Gives away, techie stuff, phones, media players, music stuff, all sorts of things he's given away recently. I never remember to enter though, because you're supposed to like comment and like and stuff, but I never remember to do that because I'm watching it on the TV. So I've never actually entered any of the giveaways, but they look fantastic. But I just find his videos really easy to watch, and he does sort of take the piss out of himself quite a bit when he does things wrong or anything. So I really like that. So yeah, so I'm saying him. Sorry, I don't even know his real name. He might have put it on there somewhere. But that's Asbyt. Soloman, he's another one that does techie videos. I just like the way he does his videos. He's not sat there behind a desk. You know, he's not sat there on his sofa like me. He does them all over the place, in his front room, in his garden, in his car. I just love the way he does it. Again, it's another techie one. He does videos all about Android, Kodi, or Roku as well. I've not found anybody else who does any videos about Roku. And I've got a Roku box in my bedroom, so that's handy for me as well, because you know you don't really get much information about them. So that's good as well. And I do find that if you're watching YouTube channels about Kodi or Android or anything like that, when a new, say, you know, for your Kodi, when a new repo pops up or anything, they all sort of do a video about it at the same time. So sometimes I'll choose, oh, I'll watch this one or I'll watch this one. I mean, another one that's not actually on my list, another tech YouTube channel, is All Things Tech. Is not actually on my list, but I would say go and watch him. Also Triple M as well is another one that I watched but didn't make it to my list. But watch Soloman, I love him. And actually his house was involved in the recent troubles, you know, the tornado and everything, so you can donate to help him. So he's actually been living in a hotel room recently, so go watch Soloman. Jimmy Fallon is another YouTube channel that I do like to watch. I think is hilarious. I used to watch his show every night. He does the Tonight Show, obviously, and I used to, when I used to have a TV box, Virgin TV, it used to record his show every night, so I would catch up at the weekend, watch all that week's shows, and I just love how funny he is. He does the story of rap with Justin Timberlake. I love that, and I just can't stop watching it. Another of my favourite ever clips is Dan Radcliffe doing, oh God, what's that? What is it called? It's that it's that rap, that alphabet rap. Anyway, go watch it. The Dan Radcliffe on Jimmy Fallon. That's so funny. It's one of my all-time favourites. And obviously as well, Jimmy Fallon was the first to develop lip sync battle with, what's his name? Do you know what? My mind today is crap. I can't remember anything. Stephen Merchant. Yeah, he developed lip sync battle with Stephen Merchant. And they did it first thing on his show, on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And obviously then they went on to actually make the show, the standalone show. But they do still do lip sync battle on the show sometimes, and it's great. I think it's one of the most funny games. He does other game shows with celebrities as well, and you know the type of celebrities he has on, like Brad Pitt, Chris Hemsworth, you know, playing that game where they have to bang an egg on their head. It's just fantastic. I went to New York a few years ago, and the one thing I really wanted to do was go and be in the audience, but you had to send off for the tickets way ahead of time, and I didn't know when I was definitely going to be there, so I didn't manage to. But one of my dream things is to go back to New York and to be in the audience for the Jimmy Fallon show. So that's one thing I really want to do. But yeah, I love it how you can go and watch all of his best clips on his YouTube channel. So that's another one. And my other favourite YouTube channel is Rams TV. You know, my favourite football team. Oh, where is it? Can't do it now. There. Derby County Football Club. Their YouTube channel is Rams TV. All the latest news is on there. So that's where I catch up on it. They have a website where you can watch the videos in full, but sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you want to just go and quickly catch up there. So yeah, Rams TV. So there you go. That's my 5 faves of 5. Thank you. Bye.